Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a good day. I am up this morning and I'm feeling pretty good right now, actually. I had a good run this morning and it kicked me in my butt a little bit, but I'm getting better at it. I'm hanging in there and actually doing a better job of actually running without wearing myself down and getting tired and all that good stuff. And and I was, out sort of, I don't know why this was on my mind. I have no idea why I was thinking about this morning, but I was thinking about this interesting kind of dynamic between Tiffany Haddish and Katt Williams. Katt Williams is he's a notch below like a Dave Chappelle status in the sense of like, these black comedians and actors that everybody loves, like they have a lot of love from the hood and just black people kind of look at them sort of in an iconic status, almost in the same space as like they see maybe the TV show The Boondocks, which I thought was one of the best shows ever, or or like how you think about like Lauryn Hill or DMX, where you had these great talents that could have been so much more than what they actually became, but there was something about Hollywood and that life that just didn't gel with who they were, right? Just something about that experience that just kind of threw them off. And so anyway, it's kind of it's fascinating, to kind of see what's sort of been going on with this Katt Williams Tiffany Haddish thing. Katt is a guy that I'm still trying to figure out. He's sort of he's brilliant, right? But then he's also got this other part of him where you're just sort of like, I don't know. It's like you see all these news stories and you're like, okay, what's the real Katt Williams? Because I'd read about the guy. Of course, I'd seen his comedy. I thought he was hilarious. But then at the same time, it's like you want, okay, is it a drug issue? Is it a mental illness issue? Is it both? Now, what a lot of people don't talk about when they say that, they'll say, no, it's not drugs. He's bipolar or it's mental health or whatever. I'm sort of like, well, actually, those two things probably are connected, right? Either you self-medicate because whatever pills they got you on are not working, or you actually cause the mental illness with the drugs. Like I think that they feed back into each other, because remember with drugs, you're kind of manipulating your brain chemistry. You're kind of taking your mind and creating something artificial. Like cocaine. From what I can gather, I never tried that stuff. I don't want to mess with it because I hear it's highly addictive. Is basically like sort of artificial happiness. You can get natural happiness, right? You can get a natural high, like from if somebody gave you $1 million, you'd be naturally high. So if you thought about your happiest thoughts, you'd have a natural high. If you kiss a pretty girl, you have a natural high. You have some good sex, you have a natural high. But cocaine kind of allows you to have that high without doing the work to have the high. And so the reason I'm okay, it's easy for me to stay away from drugs and alcohol is because number one, I don't want anything that's going to be jacking my brain up. And then number two, I think it's more fun to try to see if you can like get high naturally. Like there are lots of ways you can enhance your mood if you're willing to do the work. And some people don't want to do the work. They just want to take a pill. And so, I can't tell these people that it's a good or bad thing. Somebody says, so is sugar. That's true. Sugar also. Sugar. Now, would I consider sugar to be as bad or as harmful as a drug? Or most illegal drugs? I wouldn't say that. But I do know sugar is as addictive as cocaine. They actually gave rats, they gave them a choice between, they got these rats, they got them addicted to cocaine, and then they let them choose between sugar and cocaine. And guess what happened? They chose the sugar. So that's real talk, right? That's kind of crazy, right? So anyway, while I do this, I'm gonna tell the people via text message that we're live right now. If you want to follow me via text, you can actually text the word voice, VOYCE, to 31996. Text the word voice to 31996, and I can notify you when when I go live. The number is 31996. Write it down, 31996, and just text my name, type voice, and type it when you punch in the number, type 31996. So get on the text list, and I'm actually text my friends now and let them know I'm live. The reason I want you on the text list is because I'm always on the run. I'm like a bandit when it comes to social media, meaning that I'm always this close to being banned for talking too slick about race, or going too hard at white folks, or whatever, being too honest. And right now we're in a period of something almost a little bit like Hitler, Nazi Germany, where you got digital fascism, where basically if your opinion is not acceptable to certain people, they want to shut you down. Like Facebook will shut you down if you are not a liberal. If you are, and I'm not a liberal or a conservative. I just say what I want, what's on my mind. But Facebook literally banned me for a month because in somebody's comment I said, I don't agree with illegal immigration, and I don't understand why Black people support illegal immigration because we're voting against our interests. Literally, I got banned because they consider that to be hate speech. That if you say you disagree with illegal immigration, I disagree with people breaking the law. They literally banned me for a month from Facebook. So, and then there was another video I did about money and Kevin Garnett and getting robbed by, his managers. He lost $77 million. His managers took all of his money, or his financial managers. And I was basically saying, like, these white folks will rob your Black ass. Like these athletes need to learn this. They need to learn to get people around them that they can trust, instead of thinking that the little Jewish guy is going to be the best person to manage their money. And literally somebody reported the video and they defined it as hate speech. So get on the text list, because if they ban me from a platform, I want to be able to let you know where I'm at. A lot of people were on Facebook. We have a couple million on Facebook, and about 100,000 or 77,000 or something on my personal page alone. And although a lot of those people don't know where to find me because Facebook blocked me out. So I want you to text my name, Boyce, BOYCE, to 31996. Do it right now. And then that way I can hit you up via text. And that way, if they kick me off of one platform, I can say, it's all good. Meet me over here. Also at drboycetv.com. That's where I do a lot of my live streams. Because again, with YouTube, because I did the Kevin Garnett video, YouTube does not allow me to go live on the Big Your Black World channel, which has 300,000 subscribers. So I go live sometimes on drboycetv.com, but they may block that because I'm not going to stop telling the truth. But it's always a constant cat and mouse game. That's another reason why we created Blag Enough, our social media platform, our Facebook for Black people, BLAGGENUF, at blagenough.com. That's another place where we go and do stuff when we're getting blocked from other white-owned platforms. So it's a real battle, but I have a PhD and they don't. I'm smarter than them, so we can make it work. But if you want to follow, make that adjustment. So anyway, let me text everybody. While you text me, I'm gonna text out. So give me 1 second here. All right, and I'm gonna break down this thing. This Tiffany Haddish versus Katt Williams thing. Because I really think it's an interesting kind of analysis based on the way Katt laid it out. Katt is a guy that is, again, while he's had these really confusing and very interesting interactions with the law, he's had these crazy situations that seem to involve drugs. My boy was rolling with Suge Knight, and it was just like, damn, dude, like Suge Knight, that's some gangster shit, man. Like, you hanging out with Suge Knight? Okay. But because Suge Knight's another one. Suge Knight's another guy that is in that category of the all-time greats that could have been much greater. Suge Knight is right there with the Lauryn Hills and the DMXs and the Mike Tysons, where they had something going on that nobody else had, that nobody could touch. Suge Knight was the only game in town for a minute. I mean, when it came to gangster rap, anybody get the text number? It's 31996. Somebody type it in so everybody can get it. 31996. And thank you to Tifu for typing in blagenough.com, BLAGGENUF. But if you spell it with two F's, it doesn't matter. It all goes to the same place, because I figured people would misspell it. But yeah. So Suge Knight really had, that man had the world on a golden platter. My God, this dude. Did you know in the music industry, like it's a big deal if 1 out of every 10 of your records released at that time with like gold or whatever. Suge would release like 5 records, all 5 of them would go gold or platinum. You know, this man had Tupac. He was able to sign Pac in jail. He had what was it, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. Death Row Records was such a beautiful opportunity, you know, in terms of music. You know, if you just measure based on numbers. Now we could debate, you know, the value that gangster rap has or has not added to society, right? That's a real conversation too, right? And yeah, and then that's what I agree with you, Steel City Luke. You know, Suge was a criminal and a murderer. I mean, you know, it's I mean, the stories, the evidence, everything I've seen, you know, it kind of speaks to a very dark nature that existed around like that era and that whole movement and exactly what he was doing. You know, it was just dark, you know, and I think that that's what's unfortunate is that so many Black men end up having to operate in dark spaces. And I think that he took it too far. And if you look at that era, and I'm actually going to talk about Katt Williams and Tiffany Haddish in a second, I swear to God. But y'all know how I do. I analyze, I let my brain go in whatever stream of consciousness that there is. And I believe it adds value. But if you one of them ADHD motherfuckers that needs to hit the point in like the first 30 seconds, I can't operate with you because I'm a college professor. So you'd be better off going to maybe go to one of these YouTube channels where a Black man will put on a wig and a dress and make you laugh in 20 seconds flat or something. But that ain't what we do here. But we do have fun. But anyway, you know, in that era, it was deep because, you know, I'm the same age as Tupac Shakur pretty much. And I'm also the same age as Katt Williams, right? Like birthday the same year, all of that. And so I was 24, 25 when Pac was at his peak, you know, when Pac got killed. We were the same age. So when I saw him, you know, rise, it was a rise for me mentally. You know, he made an album strictly for my niggas. I think that's what it was called. And I was like, yeah, I'm one of your niggas. You know, like that was literally my mindset. You know, like, yeah, this is right. This is great. He's making his music for the guys, for the fellas, you know. And then when Pac died, it was the same year that my best friend Greg got murdered. You know, he got shot that year in front of his daughter. He got shot in the head. So as a Black male, you're seeing all these crazy realities that come with just being a Black man. That's why I have a big problem with people that want to act like Black on Black crime is not real. I do believe that Black self-hatred is real. You know, I do believe that we have a self-hate problem that we got to fix in our community. I do believe that Black on Black crime is real. I ain't never went through life. I swear, I ain't gonna lie. I haven't gone through life. Even when I was young, I didn't go through life worried that a cop was going to kill me. I mean, that is not to say that a cop won't do it. That was never my experience. But I have run into many situations where I thought, okay, that motherfucker's crazy and he got weapons. He might take me out because I'm dating his girlfriend, you know, because it was literally that easy for a Black man to die. It was not uncommon for a Black man to die in his 20s, you know. And so, you know, what I would say is like during that era with all the craziness with Suge Knight, and I'm talking about Suge because Suge is one of Katt's homeboys. It was almost like you had different types of people in that era that took it too far, that really got too caught up in the moment and were like living for today and didn't think about tomorrow. And then you have the guys that were more rational and more intelligent who thought about the long term. And that's the difference with young people. Like if you're young and you're in your 20s or even your 30s or even your 40s, if you want to know what it takes to be successful long term, you have to have the ability to see the future and the present. You can't just live in the moment. If you're living in the moment, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna just pop this Molly, I'm gonna go have sex with that girl, I'm gonna go blow my money, I'm just gonna live it up, I'm gonna go carry this gun and I'm, you know, packing tools and kill people, whatever. Like if you're just living like on the edge in the moment all the time, then you're not gonna have no future. You know, like you're literally spending up all of your freedom and your opportunities by basically trying to get as much of a high right now as you can, and then you pay the price later on, or maybe you're not even around to pay the price. And so in that era, you had people that took it too far. Who took it too far during that era in the 90s when gangster rap was really popping off? Tupac took it too far. You know, when he made Hit 'Em Up, that he took it too far. Tupac up here talking about, I'm my fofo, make sure all your kids don't grow. If you down with Diddy, then fuck you. You know, fuck you too. Like it was like too much. Like Willie D from the Ghetto Boys came on my channel and he said, when he heard Hit 'Em Up, he said, when somebody sent me Hit 'Em Up, because remember Willie D and the Ghetto Boys, top of the hip hop game at that time, he said, when he heard Hit 'Em Up, he told his friend, he said, man, somebody finna get killed. And he knew, he said, somebody gonna die over this, you know? And the white people, they making money off it. They don't care. Iovine and all these other people, they making all kinds of money off of this. The magazines, Double XL, like they all like beefing it up, blowing it up. They want to see niggas die. They love it. It's entertainment for them. The black man's misery is the white man's profitability. It's been like that since slavery, back when they used to make the big slaves fight each other in front of the masters, and the masters would place bets on which slave was going to win the fight. They didn't care if your head got crushed by a brick as the other guy fought you to the death. They didn't care about that. They just want to see a good fight. They want to see some niggas dead. And that was like, oh boy, that was a good fight. And then they would reward him with some liquor and women and whatever. And they keep all the money, of course, just like the NCAA. They reward you with liquor and women and drugs and bling, and they keep all the money. It ain't no different. Slavery, NCAA, pretty much the same damn shit. In fact, I see my homeboy John Henry's in here. John was one of the greatest football players in the history of the University of Kentucky. I used to tutor John back in college. John was my boy. I love this man. And John, when I worked with him, he was telling me about how he came to college, and he was actually one of the first players in the history of that school to ever be in a position to possibly go to the NFL as a sophomore. He was that good. He was an extraordinary athlete out of Florida. And even in a state where they have a lot of great athletes, he was one of the best. And he injured his arm. I remember he had a broken arm, and I remember him telling me how the coaches really made it difficult for him to pick the major he wanted. He wanted to major in engineering, and they were like, "No, engineering is gonna mess up your football time. You can't go to all the practices because your engineering takes up too much time." And that was like, what? I was like, "What the fuck is this shit? You're supposed to be here to learn." You're supposed to be a student athlete, not an athlete student. And John, because his mother had kept him in the library, John was concerned about being educated as well as being athletic, whereas a lot of the other guys went right along with that shit. They went right along with that process. So basically, I got a chance, at that early stage to see up close how the slavery of the NCAA works and how the mass exploitation of the black male athlete is deeply entrenched in our society. And it actually starts when they're very, very little, when they recruit your 6-year-old son to play football, and they're not thinking about what this man's going to be long term. They're not thinking about all the other things he could have been and all the great opportunities he could have had. They're just like, we want to brainwash him into thinking that all he can be is an athlete. And it's crazy because, like less than 1% of the population, less than 0.1% gets to play in the NFL, but you have a classroom full of black boys where half of the boys want to go play professional football, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, right? It's almost like when you have like a lot of women that say, I want a man over 6 feet tall who makes this much money and all this stuff. And I looked it up and I said, well, only 14% of the population is 6 feet tall. So how y'all all going, y'all gonna share the same motherfucker? Like y'all all gonna marry the same dude? Because the math don't work. If there's 10 of y'all and there's 2 of him, then 8 of y'all ain't gonna have a husband, right? 8 of y'all gonna be sharing the same guy. Like it doesn't make any. The math does not add up. So anyway, let me get back to it. Let me jump back in here. All right. So let me see. Adam says, Boyce is the general all access pass. Allow me to attend the entire 3-day weekend. Yes, if you're coming to the All Black National Convention, Adam, which it looks like you are, the general all access pass gives you access to all the general sessions, which includes all the film screenings, all the panel discussions, all the networking sessions, etc. There are private VIP events, like there's a master class on Thursday night by attorney Nicole Compton, who's going to teach people how to get their business off the ground. It's going to be held at the Wyndham Hotel. That's on the schedule at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. I'm also doing a stock market masterclass and a private sort of meet and greet. So you have to get a special pass to come to those because we want the group to be a little bit smaller. But if you have a general all access pass, you get to go to all the general sessions. If you have a VIP all access pass, you get to see everything. So if you haven't checked out the All Black National Convention, it's happening back in it's happening in Philadelphia the weekend of September 27th. You can learn more at allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. You will love it. It is sponsored by Black people. It is not brought to you by Coca-Cola and McDonald's, like the Congressional Black Caucus and these other events. I don't like events like that. I don't go to things like that because they're unfortunately they're bought and paid for. So they're not able to be as aggressive on their blackness as we are. Everything we do is sponsored by Black people. So everything, the whole core of the whole convention is built around Black self-sufficiency, building our own schools, building our own businesses, supporting Black businesses, creating strong families, and really taking over for the next generation. So check it out, allblacknationalconvention.com. The link for the live stream is on that page. Now, John said that he's in graduate school studying agricultural economics. See, I told you the brother's smart, very smart Black man, John. I mean, smart brother. And I love you and I respect you, man. I'm so glad you're in here. Okay, so let's talk about this thing with Katt Williams. All right, so here's the thing. All right, so Katt, I'm actually gonna pull up some of the clip so you can kind of hear what Katt said about Tiffany Haddish. She was on Frank and Wanda in the morning in Atlanta, and he just said some really interesting stuff. Now I'm gonna play the audio, and hopefully I won't get in trouble from YouTube for a copyright violation or anything by playing the audio. But the man just dropped some interesting remarks, and I'll play them and I'll kind of analyze it piece by piece. And the thing is, it wasn't just sort of him talking shit. It was more like it was deep. I mean, the stuff he said was very deep, and I was like, man, I didn't know Katt was so deep. And then Dr. Alicia, my significant other, the beautiful Black woman by my side, she said, well, Katt was a member of Mensa. I said, Mensa? Now, Mensa is the organization for people that have an IQ that is in the top 2% of the population. And I said, I didn't know he was in Mensa. And I Googled it, and there was some talk about him being in Mensa. Now, have I confirmed this? Have I seen a report from Mensa? No, I haven't. But from what Katt says anyway, again, Katt said it, right? So you can take that for what you want. But from what Katt said, his IQ was 163. So I don't know. But no matter what his IQ is, he's not a stupid person. He seems to be an intelligent guy. So let me play a little bit of this so you guys can kind of hear this. I hope you can hear it in the live stream. If you have any trouble, just kind of let me know, and I'll try to see if I can make an adjustment. So here we go.
Have the top 2 comedy specials on Showtime, HBO, Comedy Central, and we just moved to Netflix. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why they don't. I didn't know that. Nobody does. They don't promote it or sell the items after they come out because I own them, lock, stock, and barrel, and I don't have any Caucasian partners or people that invest. I'm 50. I've never had a bank loan or a car lease in my life.
Now, I love that. I thought that was great. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear what he said? This is what he said. Now somebody says, Cheryl says Cheryl says Katt spoke the truth, but Southern California says Katt is a compulsive liar. Now, is he a liar? I don't know. He could be, a Donald Trump type of person, because Donald Trump is a compulsive liar. We know that's been proven many times. But I thought if that's true, I love what he said about ownership. It made sense. He said Netflix doesn't really promote the stuff that he's done because he owns it. He said, I own it all. I don't have any Caucasian partners. So, it's mine and it does well, but they don't have any incentive to promote it because they're not making any extra money from it. I mean, I could see that, I guess. I mean, I guess if it's on their platform, I guess I'd be curious to know how that deal works. I do know a couple people in Hollywood, and I do know Netflix has a lot of money and they pay a lot more than a lot of the other networks. Who was it? I had a real good conversation with Will Smith's brother, Harry. And I was really impressed and stunned by how, what Netflix really does with their business model. It was actually really kind of like, whoa, this is really interesting. But so with Netflix, it seems like you got those people that are able to generate money from Netflix. Like Netflix will pay you money for your content. And then you got people where Netflix says, look, you can just put it on here if you want to. And I think Katt is a person, it seems like he's a person that actually gets money from Netflix. I wouldn't put, we've made movies and I wouldn't put my movies on Netflix just to have them on there because we can actually distribute them ourselves. But I know a lot of people who've made a ton of money from Netflix. And I like what he talked about ownership. I think that for Black people, he said, Boyce is shaped like a chicken nugget. See, now, Xavier, you're a moderator. Put Just Cali in timeout because you come here talking shit, you're gonna have to bounce. But anyway, so I think that with this thing with Katt, I love to hear how he talks about ownership. I think Black people have to really, really focus on what ownership looks like, what that means, and why it's important. Like ownership is really the key. Like if you really want your children to be rich and you want your kids to be in good shape, You got to think hard about ownership, because that's all you can pass. You can't borrow, you can't pass things forward that to your children that you don't own. Like you can't pass a job to your kids. Your kids cannot, I don't care how many years you spent at that factory, when you die on the job, they're going to replace you in a couple of days, right? Because they got to keep the machines moving. So what you got to ask yourself is, what do I own? What is actually mine? And a person who owns a little, who earns a low level of income, is typically better off than a person who owns nothing, who has a high level of income. Income can be shut off like water from a faucet. You think about your income. Income is like water coming out of a faucet. Ownership is like water that's in a bucket, right? Water coming out of a faucet, if you're letting it, you think about how water comes out of a faucet. It comes out, you can drink as much as you want, and the rest goes down the drain, right? And that's how we do with our money, right? We will consume it, we'll use it for whatever we want, and then we waste a lot, right? And then, but the faucet, if somebody shuts it off, then you're gonna die of thirst, right? You're gonna be thirsty, right? And you're gonna have to go beg Massa, like, Massa, I was thirsty, Massa. Can you turn the water back on, Massa? Right? But if you're smart, what you do is you're drinking the water and you put that bucket underneath your mouth, so that any water you don't drink goes in that motherfucking bucket. And then you put the bucket in the freezer and you say, okay, Massa's making it rain on me right now. He's really bringing a whole lot of water to me. And I'm filling up my buckets and putting them in the freezer, so that if he turns this shit off, I'm gonna be good. I'm still gonna be all right. You understand? You follow me? So ownership is the number of buckets of water that you have put into the freezer, so that if Massa turns off the water faucet, you can go to the freezer and go and get yourself something to drink. Now, if you're really smart, then what you might do is you might find a way to, while that faucet's pouring water out, find a way to get other faucets. That's multiple streams of income. Find a way to get other faucets. Even if you don't control the flow of water through those faucets, but if you got 3 faucets, that's always better than 1, because if 1 shuts off, you got 2 more, right? Right? Does that make sense? Right. So ultimately, that's kind of how all that works, right? And who knows, maybe if you save up enough of your water, then maybe eventually you can become the supplier of water to other people, right? They're drinking from a faucet because you're the one supplying the water, because you done saved up so much water in all your buckets, right? You own the big water tower in the middle of town. Everybody got to come to you if they get thirsty. Do you feel me? That's power. That's economic power. So Katt understands economic power primarily through ownership. It doesn't surprise me. He understands that because he's been in this game for so long, and I respect that about him. So let me pull up another part of his comment, because he said something at the end that got my attention.
Because I own them, lock, stock, and barrel, and I don't have any Caucasian partners or people that invest. I'm 50. I've never had a bank loan or a car lease in my life.
Now, he said, I've never had a bank loan or a car lease in my life. That's good in the sense that he understands the importance of staying out of debt. He avoids debt. Debt is actually the great economic crippler in the United States. Debt is the number 1 factor that cripples people and keeps them from being able to pass anything to their children. It's the number 1 factor that can draw people into economic slavery. Debt is created usually by excessive consumption. You use the credit card because you want to go and, go to the mall and get the nicest outfit. You want to go to the Beyonce concert. You want to drive the nicest car, whatever it is. And then that puts you in debt. But the thing about debt is, even though debt is something where it's usually better, it's good when you're debt free. Like at the end of the game, you have to own more than you owe, right? Both own and owe, right, are 2 words that start with the words OW, but you don't want the E, you need the N, right? The N must override the E. The N must be greater than the E, meaning that if you own this much and you owe that much, then that means your net worth is positive, which means you won the game. The problem right now, and this is really especially true for Black college graduates, believe it or not, Black college graduates have this problem more than damn near anybody else, is that you're upside down in your shit. You upside down in your life where you owe this much and you own that much. That's like if I'm in a basketball game, the other team's not supposed to have 50 points more than me. right? That's not, it's not supposed to work like that, right? So if you owe, you got 80,000, 90,000 in debt and you got 10,000 in assets, that's not where you're supposed to be, and if you are in that position, it's supposed to be temporary. Unfortunately, people are dying like that. They're dying like that. So if you die like that, then what does that mean? What it's like a relay race, right? If I'm running the race and I'm 5 yards further behind in the race than I was when I started, what am I really doing for my teammates? When I pass that baton, when I pass that wealth to my children, when I pass on to the next generation, when my kids are experiencing the benefits of the consequences of what I did during my life, am I helping them? Are they better off because of what I did, because I went to college? Now, I know going to college makes us proud, makes us feel good, right? But are they better off because I went to college, or are they worse off? Right. And that's a hard question that people have to ask themselves. Doesn't mean that college is a bad thing. It just means you got to think about all of this, because if you go into debt, if you're upside down, you're not supposed to stay upside down, right? Like it's sort of like a sports analogy. If I'm down 5 points in the first quarter, that might be okay, but it's not okay for me to be down 5 points when the buzzer sounds. At some point, we got to get back in the game. Right. So Katt understands that from a standpoint of just knowing what debt can really do to you. So I actually like that perspective. So here's more in the interview. Check it out.
Are you serious?
That's correct.
So has we always hear like these comedians coming to say, oh, they got the big Netflix deal. Has Netflix or anybody ever hit Katt Williams and said,
I'm on my 15th consecutive 100 city tour on the exact day that Monique was asking for a Netflix boycott. Netflix had just cut me a check for $2 million for the special that I got paid $300,000 to do in Jacksonville.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all catch that? So he said on the day that Monique announced her boycott for Netflix, citing gender inequity, I'm not, I think I think it was like racism and gender, right? I think she kind of hit both. It was like a Serena Williams type moment, right? Remember Serena was saying like, you treated me like this because I'm a woman. But it was real weird because she was playing against another woman, right? So people are like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. I personally felt like Serena got treated like that because she's black. I did, and I think that they just don't like her in the game of tennis. And I think that she's trying to jump that bandwagon of the gender inequality thing, because that's where the white women will have her back. But unfortunately, it weakens her case. It just didn't make any sense, because they were like, well, there's a woman right across from you, and she's a black woman too, half black anyway. But then again, they probably embrace that Japanese side of her more, right? They're like, there's another woman right across the net. We're not treating her like that. And I think that for Serena, it's more so, I think gender did play a part in it, because I think that some of her more masculine behavior, like slamming her racket to the ground, is probably harder for people to like interpret. Like maybe they felt like that's not ladylike or whatever. But a lot of people, honestly, they just kind of felt like her behavior was just unprofessional. They were just kind of like, why are you being a brat? Like, why are you acting like so crazy in this match? But then again, maybe they did something to drive her crazy. I don't know. But anyway, with Monique, it was the same thing. It was like, on one hand, she's like, it's racism because Amy Schumer got $12 million or whatever. And then she's like, oh, it's also gender because Dave Chappelle got, 20 million. Chris Rock got, 12, 13, 14, 15 million, whatever he got. Right. And so it makes sense, right? It makes sense if you get into that sort of discussion. But I want you to pay attention to what Katt then says now. Pay attention to what he says next about why Monique got less money than he got. Pay attention. Listen to this.
Alrighty then. Are you serious?
Or I'm really good at jokes. You tell me.
No, I think you serious, bro. I just say, are you serious? Because that's interesting news that people
Thanks
need
to Atlanta, Pimp Chronicles has already grossed over $24 million alone as one special.
Wow.
Because of Atlanta. Like there are parts of the population that feel like I'm from Atlanta and I'm from Ohio, and have never said anything differently.
Right.
Well,
what's your thoughts on Netflix? I mean, they're giving deals. Like we just heard Tiffany Haddish has got a deal as well. And I mean, they're opening up things to comics, and for them to open up a door like that. What are your honest thoughts about Netflix?
Well, everybody has to understand that Netflix doesn't have an opinion on stand-up comedy. They base what they pay you by the amount of ticket sales for your last tour. So Monique's last tour had 316,000 tickets. Therefore, that's what she got offered. My last tour had $2.4 million tickets, and so that's what the offer was.
Wow.
So if people understand that it's not personal,
right?
Then they could just,
I didn't know that,
for free, take their ass to work and get their numbers up.
Did you catch that? Did y'all catch that? He said, take your ass to work for free and get your numbers up. So he sort of broke it down, and and he just basically said, look, Netflix does not have an opinion on stand-up comedy. They look at the numbers. They look at the numbers. He said, look, Monique did her tour. She sold 316,000 tickets, right? He said, I sold 2.4 million. That's why my deal was different from her deal. That's why she got X, I got X millions of dollars. She got what she got, right? And so, it's kind of a raw delivery. It's kind of a rough way to say it, but it makes sense. It makes sense. And it makes sense based on the way Netflix tends to operate as a company. Netflix is heavy on technology. They're real big on technology and analytics and all of that. So I would not be surprised if a big part of their methodology for deciding which comedian they're going to offer the most money to comes down to how many tickets do they sell when they go on tour. How much money do we think that we can make by having this person on our platform versus somebody else? Who's going to be the biggest draw, when we put them on the platform? And a lot of people said that. A lot of people said, well, Monique ain't really hasn't been on tour that much. And her tour really it's not iconic. It really, it's not like she goes to cities and sells everything out. She's more almost like somebody you might see on an undercard, right? Like a big comedian comes in and Monique is like the extra, like there's Batman and then there's Robin, right? And so, I like that because it kind of gets us away from this whole discussion that says a woman should make the same as a man no matter what, right? Because it's the same work. Well, entertainment ain't like that. There will never be a day, at least at any time in the near future, where I make as much money in entertainment as Will Smith. Why? Well, because Will Smith can talk for 30 seconds and make millions of dollars. I might have a hard time matching that, right? Most of us would, right? And so the way you get compensated in those situations, in a business-oriented type scenario like that, is based on what revenue you can bring into the company. Monique is not a person that's going to generate millions of dollars from a comedy special that she puts on Netflix. So this idea that somehow it's only gender and it's only race that leads to the differentiation in what she makes doesn't make any sense. So Katt, he's showing his high IQ. He's basically saying it's all about the numbers. He's like, my numbers were 2.4 million. Her numbers were 316,000. I made Pimp Chronicles made this much money. Like he's really being analytical with it and very business oriented with it, which is interesting because it's kind of a contrast to the perception people have of Katt Williams. Like a lot of people like him because he's able to pretend to be an ignorant nigga, right? He's able to, and maybe he is partially, right? Maybe there's a part of him that is in that ignorant space, but he's not an ignorant person. He's an analytically ignorant person. Like he analyzes your ass and he knows how to be ignorant enough to make you laugh and make you go buy a ticket. But then when he's sitting in the back counting his money and making business plans, he's probably about as analytical as any professor that you're ever going to meet. And really that's what you see in a lot of these industries. The people that are really at the top typically are people that just have studied the game. Like they're not just regular people who just happen to just land on stage and are making jokes. These are people who are trained at the highest levels. They work extremely hard. They do lots of analysis. They damn near could start a business school with all the understanding they have of economics and mathematics. And these are not average ass people. So I think that that's important for people to understand, especially if you have kids that want to get into entertainment. like it takes the work. You know, I met people in my own family who are like, oh, I want to be an actress. Oh, I want to be a comedian. I want to be whatever. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, how much work are you really putting in to really become this? Like, are you putting in thousands of hours of hard work and labor to do this? If not, then shut up. Shut up. You just fantasizing right now. You ain't married to the dream. Your dream is a booty call. A booty call is something you're not committed to that is there for your pleasure. So your dream, you're not committed to your dream and you dream for pleasure. You're not married to the dream. Marriage is a long-term commitment that takes thousands of hours of hard work and rigor and pain that you must endure in order to get to the finish line. So a lot of y'all, when you think about your dream, ask yourself, you got to ask yourself, am I married to the dream or is my dream just a booty call? You know, am I really, really, you know, in the game to death do us part, for richer, for poor, sickness and health? Or am I just here to just kind of fantasize about what I want and not willing to do the work? Will Smith did a really good video about that. He said a lot of people say they want to do what I do and be what I am, but they ain't ready to do the work. So you got to be ready to do the work. So Katt, you know, it seems like a guy that's doing the work, and I respect that. By the way, do this for me. If you are on social media anywhere, if there's a subscribe button, please take a second, hit the subscribe button. If there's a thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if there's a share button, hit the share button. If you on YouTube, if you hit a little, I think it's a little bell, you hit the little bell, you can get a notification whenever I go live. Also, if you want to be on our text message list where I will text you, you know, not every single time, but a lot of times when I go live, I'll text you on a regular basis whenever I'm live and you can pop right in. Just text the word Boyce, text my name, Boyce, B-O-Y-C-E, to 31996. That's 31996, 31996. Somebody please type that in so other people can see it. Text the word Boyce to 3199 and then the number 6. Okay, so let me jump back in. Let me talk a little bit more. So Katt Williams is on Frank and Wanda in the morning. This is where he gets into the social side that I think is so fascinating in terms of how he analyzes Tiffany Haddish and her appeal, her mass appeal, mostly to white folks. But black people, we kind of love coonery. Like we love people that kind of, you know, like act out or whatever. Like for example, the fact that everyone loves Cardi B. You know, and think about Cardi B and Tiffany Haddish are kind of the same person. One is like a hip hop version of the other, and one's a comedic version of the other. And basically everybody likes it. And if you ask them like, well, why do you like them? They'll say, oh, because she's so real. She's so real. Katt addresses that, and I like that a lot. He's real when he addresses why people love them because they're real. So check this out. This is the really fascinating stuff.
Dude,
but Netflix don't call nobody. That's the joke. The joke is Netflix ain't giving me. First of all, Netflix ain't call you. Knock it off. Is Coca-Cola knocking on people's door to see what type of beverage they having today?
So they go by those ticket sales. That's dope.
What else could they go by?
Yeah. And I thought it was like popularity.
What comedian don't think everybody can't wait for their next special? Who don't think they got something to say? The fact of the matter is what makes a great comedy special is if 100 people talk at the same time that you talking, are you saying something different than them people are saying?
No.
Because if you are, then you deserve a special. And if you don't, you're going to find out you're not special. Because they're going to let you do your special, Gerard Carmichael, but nobody's going to watch it. They're going to let you be a star, Lil Rel, but you ugly. And white people don't believe in ugly stars. They think you have to be somebody that women want to sleep with and men want to be. But because we black, they say, oh, you don't even deserve that. So you get Kevin Hart, Lil Rel, Gerard Carmichael, all in a row, Hannibal Buress, just dudes that no woman would talk to in Lenox Mall, let alone you making them movie stars. Why? Because you know ain't nobody gonna sleep with them. You only got Tiffany Haddish. She been doing comedy since she was 16. You can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke. Why? Because she ain't done a tour yet. She ain't done a special. She has not proven the ability to tell jokes back to back for an hour to nobody. And they are already ready to down Monique and up somebody who has showed them Girls Trip. Did you think she wrote Girls Trip goofball?
Right.
Or do you think that was already a script and they handed it to her? It's up to you, whatever you want to believe. I'm the introduction to Tiffany Haddish in the movie School Dance. The clip for School Dance has been seen more times than the movie has. That's just a fact.
But the movie the Girls Trip movie?
Yes, ma'am. The one with three Of our greatest black actresses in it? You mean that one?
Right. But I'm just saying, Tiffany Haddish.
Ma'am, you could have had that role, and everything that happened would have happened unless you thought you were necessary to write the Saturday Night Live monologue. I'm a writer. I only care about what you write. I don't care about what you read. Everybody can read that can read.
What did you think about the movie? I laughed from beginning to end. I thought
it was a great script when I saw it in 2004.
Wow.
In 2004. Wow.
Yeah, I have it.
I'm so happy for her though, because
that's what it do.
That baby, I tear up
thinking about the break that she got. And to see her do her thing.
She passed 46 female black comedians that I know personally that I put on tour who have a hard time getting a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A after they headline 7 shows at a club for $2,500 a week.
But people like real, and that's why they like her. Is that what
they like?
They love realness.
Because everybody's real then. So don't trip.
No, they like
wherever
Tiffany
you
Haddish
at under the sound of my voice, real. Do you have a real co-worker?
Right.
Do you have a ratchet friend? Do you have a sister? Do you have a cousin? Do you have a nephew? Do you have a niece? Is they so ghetto? When did that become marketable? Knock it off. They like her because she want to sleep with a white man. That's why the only thing she said was, I want to give it to Brad Pitt. The only thing before that in the movie with me is I slept with this white man and I got a white baby. She had a white husband for the 14 years she been doing comedy, and then all of a sudden divorced him, then said he abused her, then wrote a book, then said he didn't, and then now we're at Brad Pitt. So, hey, you can say whatever you want. She said she got a disease for JJ. Don't nobody check for that. I support Linnell, Melanie Camacho, Miss Laura, all the people that got skipped over in the list between now and then. There's no shade to nobody.
Yeah, Melanie's well.
Okay, whew, there's a lot to unpack with that. Okay, so, all right, so, hold on, let me see here. Hold on, make sure, let me know if you can hear me on YouTube, because I don't know if my audio went bad for a second, but okay, so a couple things I picked up on that. You know, I noticed that he mentioned, basically it sounds to me like he's saying that Tiffany Haddish jumped the line in front of a lot of people who really paid their dues. You know, that's what I'm really gathering. I'm really gathering that with you know, comedy, there's a huge chitlin circuit. There's a huge number of people that are very, very talented, that work their ass off, grind for free, you know, get paid, you know, don't get paid anything to do the work, but they love it and they're in it and they're making that sacrifice. And Tiffany Haddish somehow becomes the it girl, just boom, out of nowhere. Now, so the first thing that stood out was when he said, you know, you can't tell me your favorite Tiffany Haddish joke because she's never done a tour. She's never sat there for 2 hours and had to tell jokes back to back to back to back to back. So it almost seems like that's like a rite of passage in a way for comedians, where it's almost like when somebody goes to Hollywood and they make a blockbuster movie and make a lot of money, and you'll have these trained actors and actresses that are pissed off, you know, who are on Broadway, who have really, really paid their dues in theater, who are annoyed that this person went to, you know, Hollywood and made a bunch of money by making a mediocre movie. And on one hand, it's definitely in that category of jealousy, professional jealousy and competition, right? You can't deny that part, in my opinion. Like, I do see some jealousy there, like, oh, well, who this bitch thinks she is, whatever, she jumped ahead of the line, blah, blah, blah. But then there's also sort of this almost professional authenticity that you have to have in order to do whatever it is that you do. It's no different from like in a fraternity or a sorority, when you have people, somebody who went and paid the dues to become an AKA, and they got hazed for 6 weeks in college and went through hell and all kinds of stuff to earn their letters. And then you have some other woman who says, oh no, I waited to pledge grad chapter and I paid $1,000 and, you know, worked hard for a weekend, and now I'm an AKA too. Well, you can see some women that'll be like, no, bitch, you ain't no AKA. You ain't real. You take them fucking letters off, right? Like I've seen that. I've seen women have that kind of attitude, right? Or even with PhDs. We even have that in PhDs. You know, with my friends, like my PhD program was hell. It was 5 years of complete total hell to get my doctorate, 10 hours a day of studying, 7 days a week, including Christmas. And just literally went through all kinds of shit to get there. And so when you see somebody else that says, oh yeah, I got my doctorate too, and I went to an 8-week program, you're like, wait, that ain't no damn PhD. What the fuck? Like, shut up. You know, like you can't help but to feel that way. You know, or somebody who gave a couple of dollars to a university and they get an honorary doctorate and they call themselves doctor. And you're like, that ain't the same thing, right? So I think that part of it, I do think that some of it does become a jealousy thing, but then part of it also is real in the sense that it's saying, like, if her success is her success, don't think that the success is always connected to talent and skill and ability. Those are two different things. Two different things, especially if you're Black. Especially if you're Black. If you're Black, success is not always connected to how good you are at what you do. Success for a Black person in America is typically more directly related to how well you appease white folks. That's it. Because why? Well, because white people sign all the checks, right? They pay your goddamn bills. They're the ones who have the distribution networks and the power. So if I had a choice, if my measure of success is, you know, how much am I on TV? How many Emmys and Grammys and Oscars and all that other bullshit that I've won, right? If my measure of success is what were my box office numbers last year, and I had a choice between being an extremely talented person who pisses off white people or an untalented person who knows how to make white people happy, who do you think is gonna have the most success? Who do you think is gonna have the biggest box office numbers and the most opportunities? It ain't gonna be the talented person who pisses off white folks, right? And so what that really kind of means for Black people to some extent is that you have to redefine what success actually means. What is success? I thought about that the other day because I saw T.I. I love T.I. T.I. is one of my favorite rappers. I saw T.I. with Dave Chappelle and Will Smith, and they were all toasting glasses. And T.I. said something like, you know, here's to success, right? So they were all proud Black men because they were successful. And I love all three of those guys. Like, I think all three of those guys are talented, cool. Will Smith, his family, I don't know Will, but I know his brother Harry pretty well. Smart family. Dave Chappelle, love that guy, one of the best that there is in what he does. And but it was kind of like I was thinking about like what success really means, because I was thinking to some extent, though, a lot of the Black people that we consider to be the most successful, even including those three guys, they were elevated by white people, right? They were propped up by white folks. Like, white corporations elevated them. If, for example, if all white people had decided we hate Will Smith, we will never put him in a movie, then you would know who he is. He wouldn't be sitting at that table, right? Or if white record labels had all said, you know, T.I. is a good rapper, but think about this. There's a lot of brilliant underground rappers that you've never heard of. A lot of rappers that could probably, you know, compete, go head to head with T.I. in battle rap, right? But you'll never hear about them because they were not the chosen Negro, right? To some extent. Now, this does not say anything negative about T.I. at all. I mean, he's an excellent activist and a great man and all these other things, but he's probably not the only really super talented rapper out there, but he's the one that you just know about, right? Will Smith is not the only super talented Black man that could have done the roles that he played. You know, I've been to these auditions. It's insane. I feel bad for these actors in Hollywood because you'll have 300 of them, all of them good-looking people, all of them busting their ass, all of them ready for the role, but they pick one. They pick one. You get to be the lucky nigga. You get the golden ticket, like Charlie in the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when Charlie was the one kid who got the golden ticket, right? And that's what it is. Like, if you are the Negro with the golden ticket, then you get a chance to be seen as successful, when the reality is that there's a lot of Black people who are just as hardworking, just as talented. So the question is, why don't they get a chance to taste success also? I'm going to tell you why. My PhD is in finance. Y'all know this. The reason why is because white people only have the capacity and the desire to allow a small percentage of you to ever know what it feels like to be successful. So because they own all the distribution channels, because they own all the corporations, because they own all the opportunities and all the media outlets, they will let in, they'll have 100 Negroes outside. They'll say, okay, we got 100 Negroes that all want to play in the NFL. We'll pick one. We got 100 Negroes that all want to be the next Tiffany Haddish. We'll pick one. We got 100 Negroes that want to be the next big rapper. We'll pick one. And they have this power because of historical racism and exclusion of opportunity and all that. But they also have this power because you give them that power. You give them that power because you oversupply them with talent. The supply of Black talent is off the fucking charts. Like, we have an overabundance of talented basketball players. We have an overabundance of talented actors and actresses. We have a goddamn world supply of talented rappers. We got more talented rappers. I could walk 10 feet from my house and find somebody who raps as well as the guy you just heard on the radio. Y'all know this. Y'all live in the same community I do. So we oversupply them with talent, and we undersupply ourselves with the creation of opportunity. How many Black people do you hear that sit around and say, how do we build our own media channels? How many Black people do you hear sit around saying, how do we own our own distribution networks? How many Black people do you see sitting around saying, how do we start thousands of businesses so that we can be the ones who are packaging, distributing, and monetizing the product? How many Black people do you see sitting around saying, let's have a powernomics conversation on how we can control every part of the hip hop industry, from the creation of the music all the way to the distribution, to the monetization, to the marketing and everything else? How many Black people do you see saying, fuck the NBA, fuck the NFL. I ain't even trying to do none of that shit because I'm 5'5", but I do want to start a basketball league so I can get all these talented brothers out here in Rucker Park and put them on the court, make them into a product, package it for the public, sell a ticket, and make millions of dollars that I can then use to not only pay them, but to take care of their families, and also allow other thousands of other Black businesses to be built around everything that we got going on, kind of like what they did with the Negro leagues, right? So how often do you see that? So what I'm trying to say to you, and this is what I am, this is why I exist. This is why God told my mother not to abort me when she was 17 years old, even though the Margaret Sanger soldiers would have told her to abort me because she was poor and Black and 16 years old when she got pregnant. My daddy was 15. He did not even want to be a daddy. And my mama was 16, scared to death, poor as hell. They would have told her to abort me. This is why that did not happen. The reason it did not happen is because I am here to tell you this very basic idea. Black people must stop oversupplying talent and start diversifying our energies to produce just as many entrepreneurs as we produce basketball players. We must produce just as many entrepreneurs and tech experts and business people as we produce comedians and actors and actresses. We must produce just as many people that are thinking about the distribution and the monetization and the marketing of a product as we produce people who are thinking about how you can sing and dance for white folks in order to make them happy enough to make you the chosen Negro with the goddamn golden ticket. Only one of y'all gonna get the golden ticket. So you need to stop begging them to give you that one golden ticket and start printing those motherfucking tickets yourself. If you print the golden tickets, you get to hand them out. You're not waiting for them to hand them to you. This is why I can't watch these stupid award shows. Last night, Dr. Alicia, Black woman, love her to death. My wonderful, beloved woman by my side. I lose words because I think I love her so much. But she comes in and she says, hey boys, the Emmys are on. You know what? We're gonna watch the Emmys. You wanna watch the Emmys? And I was like, no. Y'all have fun. I'll be in the other room. But in my mind, I'm thinking, fuck the Emmys. Fuck the Emmys is some old made up shit that somebody just said, well, let's just create this award. So when we give it to people, they're going to think it's actually mean something. Once you figure that out, it makes you say, well, no, we should have our own Emmys. Go just call it something else. Really, what's an Emmy? What's an Oscar? I read the history of the Oscar award, the Academy Award, the Oscars. They just made it up. They literally made it up. The companies, Hollywood was created by the Jewish community, because the Jews wanted to have power. So they sent their children to learn about business and distribution, not entertainment. And so they built these studios, and they didn't want to pay the actors more money. So they said, let's make up an award called an Academy Award, and we'll give them these awards so that they'll accept validation instead of money. They'll accept a pat on the head, and that'll be as good as cash. That's where the Academy Awards comes from. So once you know that, once you kind of pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz, you're not impressed anymore. You're like, okay, wait a minute, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing. So going back to Katt Williams and Tiffany Haddish, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and subscribe button and all that. Also, I should remind you guys, don't forget the All Black National Convention happens at the end of this month. This is the kind of stuff we talk about at the convention. We don't just talk about it, but we make action plans. Dr. Claude Anderson for Powernomics is coming. Michael Imhotep, African History Network, a lot of other amazing people. So come to the All Black National Convention in Philadelphia the weekend of September 27th. The URL is allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. It is sponsored by Black people, paid for by Black people, controlled by Black people. No corporate sponsorship. There's no affiliation with any political party. None of that. So anyway, and also if you're on Instagram, you're about to disappear. But when you disappear, I'm going to bring you right back. It only lets me go for an hour, which tells me I probably need to finish up in a couple of minutes. But anyway, okay, so here's another point that Katt made about Tiffany that I thought was really, really fascinating. Katt, to me, I thought, but as I was listening, despite the fact, again, because even though I did see a little bit of, professional jealousy and competition there, I did kind of see like, okay, I think that there are just some people that are going to be just mad because, she's so successful so quickly. And that's what's going to happen. You get successful, you're going to have people that don't like you and just mad just because. A lot of that professional jealousy and anger is created by oppression, right? Because it's almost like if you have a bunch of dogs kept in a cage and the dogs are starved to death and one dog gets a piece of food and the other dogs don't. Well, the other dogs are going to want to kill that dog and take his food, or just kill him because they're mad because he gets to eat and they don't get to eat, right? So really lifting up that veil of oppression and really developing the infrastructure in our community. Remember, before segregation or desegregation, we had a lot of businesses. We don't have that anymore. Desegregation was not good for you. But just by opening up that veil and having opportunities for everybody would eliminate a lot of that jealousy. Katt Williams would probably not be as annoyed with Tiffany Haddish if he was making as much money as Tiffany Haddish, or if he had as much fame as Tiffany Haddish, or he has the fame, but he doesn't have that same level of sort of prominence because Tiffany's kind of the it girl right now, right? But but to go deeper into that though, I mean, think about this. In terms of Tiffany being getting favored Negro status, she got the golden ticket from white people. Well, shit. Think about this. What hit me, what really got to me was I was watching some award show, right? And they gave out, I think it was the Academy Awards, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it like Best Supporting Actress? If I'm not mistaken, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that this is what it was. And the candidates were like some white person. And then I saw Angela Bassett, who've been in the game since I was like a kid. Like Angie Bassett is a fucking legend. And then Tiffany Haddish. And I said, please, white people, don't make me go crazy on your asses by giving this award to Tiffany Haddish over Angela Bassett. And that is what they did. If I'm not mistaken, they gave the Best Supporting Actress Award to Tiffany Haddish over Angela Bassett. I said, there's no way on this earth or any surrounding planet or even anywhere in the Milky Way galaxy that Tiffany Haddish outacted Angela Bassett. That can't happen. It does not occur. It's not possible. No. So, that was what I was like. I didn't know what to say. I was like, damn, like this is so obvious. So, I think little dumb shit like that, is kind of how, to some extent, for white folks in power, Black people are like little chess pieces on a board. Like you literally are like little pawns. And if they want to pit one against the other, they can do that. If they want to put one in front of the other, they can do that. They really become the puppet masters and you become the puppets. You literally become the puppets. You don't move without them. You know, Tiffany Haddish, if white people tomorrow decide, if Tiffany Haddish went on TV and said, racism sucks, I support Colin Kaepernick, white people are evil, y'all need to stop with this shit, y'all ignore us. If she started getting real political and crazy and you know, and speaking the truth on whiteness, she would disappear like that. She'd be gone tomorrow. She'd be gone tomorrow. So ultimately, we know who's controlling this game and we know how all of this works. And so to that extent, Katt's point about, you know, Tiffany's, her crush on Brad Pitt, it's not an accident that Tiffany like went out of her way to state that she has this desire to fuck Brad Pitt. I'm gonna tell you this, a real smart black woman said to me the other day, she said, you can't get ahead in Hollywood as a black actress if you ain't fucking a white man. If you ain't willing to get on the damn camera and fuck a white man, then your chances of being an A-lister as a black woman are almost non-existent. And then I started thinking about it, and I remember Halle Berry and Monsters Ball. Well, they hold her up in that movie. They just, my God, like you just were like, damn, Halle, you need a shower now. Like after that, after Monsters Ball, you were just like, my God, like that ain't right. Right. You know, but she did that role. And what happened after Monsters Ball? Suddenly Halle's getting all these awards. Right. Right. And I'm going to tell you this, too. Here's another interesting thing. Here's another little secret y'all don't know about. Remember that that guy, I think he's a Jewish agent or something, that managed Halle Berry and what's her name? The lady on Empire. I forgot it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. She's Taraji P. Henson. Did y'all see where he got caught in that whole Me Too scandal, where basically he was making deals with the actresses saying, look, you know, you tickle my balls a couple of times a month, I'll put you at the top of Hollywood. Well, check this out. Right before that went down, I was in LA because I spent a lot of time in LA because we make movies and all that stuff. I know a lot of actors and actresses, and I hear a lot of interesting stories now. And there was an actress who it was like maybe late 30s, and she said, I had a big opportunity and I had to pass. And I said, so tell me about it. What happened? And she told me about this guy. And according to this actress, she said, I could tell he liked black women. He wined me, he dined me. It was like he wanted to show me this whole world that he can deliver to me. He flew me across the country, took me to a couple of expensive award shows, went to dinner at restaurants where the tab would be like $1,500. And basically it got, eventually we hit game time where he literally pulled out his penis and he's like, you suck my dick once a month, I can make your dreams come true. I kid you not. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sound crass when I said that, but it's like, basically if you all you got to do ain't nothing but 15 minutes out of your day. You take care of me. I'm going to take care of you. And now, is that an indecent proposal? I don't know. I'm not going to judge that. But she said no. She walked away from that. And now here was the thing, though. I couldn't help but notice that there were black actresses, again, Taraji and Halle and others that he worked with, who he has propelled to the highest heights. So that made me say, well, I wonder how they responded if he approached them that way, because because she fit the profile. She was just like Taraji, and that's what he kind of said. He kind of said, I can make you big like Taraji. I can make you big like Halle. And she was really tempted by that. And so anyway, it kind of just sort of spoke to the unfortunate reality. And you hear Taraji tell that story about how she got to Hollywood with just $700 in her pocket, and stuff like that. So think about this. You're a black actress. You arrived to Hollywood, a place where there are very few opportunities for black people. You got $700 in your pocket. A man says, I'll make your dreams come true. All you got to do is, make some of my dreams come true. CUM or COME, depending on how you want to look at it, right? And we can just make a deal, right? And now again, is that bad or good? I don't know. I mean, when people talk about that and they talk about those sorts of transactions as if they are always evil and always bad. And I thought about it and I said, well, what you know, what if you have some guy who's like, you know, a powerful agent, or he's like a, you know, director, or he makes movies, and there's some beautiful actress, he's attracted to her, she's attracted to him, because women are attracted to men with power and money, and men are attracted to women who look good. And let's say that they decide they want to go on a date, and they eventually have a sexual relationship. They start, you know, doing what grown-ups do. You know, grown-ups start kind of, you know, reproducing and all that. Well, you know, so let's say then that she's still a struggling actress now, like she's still trying to get ahead, and he's got the keys to the kingdom, right? You know, so they may not be in a relationship, but they're, you know, getting together and doing the damn thing. You know, it almost seems to me that, let's say that he has some big role coming up and she really wants that role. So they're in bed, they just finished doing the damn thing, and she's like, you know, I'd really like to have that role. Is he gonna say no? Like, is he gonna say no? It would be unprofessional for me to do that for you. I can't do that. We can't mix sex and professionalism. That would be wrong, right? No, he can't say that, because if he says that, then she's gonna walk out of bed and basically be mad at him because he didn't come through for her, right? He didn't deliver for her the way she delivered for him, right? And so what's interesting though is that they talk about these interactions as if they don't happen. I believe they happen all the time. I think it's almost, but the way people interpret it is almost like a cart before the horse kind of thing. Like, so if you happen to be sleeping together and then she wants you to help her professionally because you're sleeping together, then that's seen as okay. It's kind of expected as part of the relationship. But if he's helping her professionally and he says, I'd like for us to sleep together too, and makes that suggestion, then it becomes like this horribly unethical, coercive, disrespectful kind of thing. And honestly, I'm a realist. I think this stuff just happens all the time. And what I think is like, so I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think what makes it bad though is I think a lot of Black people are forced into those kind of situations because we have such little power. We have so few opportunities. We have such little capital. And you'd be surprised how many of your favorite male sex symbols in Hollywood are getting down with men. You know, I'm talking about guys that you would never guess were in that category. They're getting down with men, you know, because that stuff, that mafia thing, that agenda in Hollywood, very real, very, very real. I'm sorry, it's extremely real. So anyway, I'm not going to talk too much longer. I know that that I think Katt made a good point. I think Tiffany Haddish, I watch Tiffany when she goes on shows, and if you pay attention, watch Tiffany. Go look at a clip on YouTube and watch Tiffany when she goes on like Jimmy Kimmel or Conan O'Brien or whatever. The first thing she does is she does something very ghetto and stereotypical that makes white people say, oh, I love her, she's so funny, right? So she'll go out and they'll be playing the music and she'll be like, ha, right? You know what I mean? Like, she'll kind of do like something extremely ghetto. And the truth is that ain't enough. That's just a minstrel show. That's what that is. That's a minstrel show, right? So just watch though, but like go and watch a clip of her on a show and watch. As soon as she gets in there, she does something very ghetto and stereotypical, and that's how she maintains herself as the it girl. So they don't really respect her necessarily for having talent. They respect her for playing a role, right? She plays a part, and white people have loved like Black people who played that part for 400 years. I mean, this could literally happen during slavery. Like during slavery, there were slaves who were loved by white people because they knew how to act like coons, right? And honestly, that's kind of what you're seeing with Tiffany. Unfortunately, that's kind of what you see a little bit with Cardi B. You know, they don't want Cardi B or Tiffany Haddish to be rocket scientists or whatever. They want, or activists or any of that stuff. They want them to be ghetto. They want them to be hoochie mamas. That's what they like. They like that stuff. You know, so I think Katt kind of made a good point. I think Katt he's got his own issues, obviously. I think that though at the same time, I think you can learn a little bit from kind of listening to him. I think the bottom line point is that this competition, this Negro head-to-head thing that we end up having going on, it would be alleviated a lot if Black people learned that you shouldn't really spend your life going, you know, out trying to just seek opportunities. You should obsess yourself with learning how to create opportunities. That same opportunity that white man gave you, he had to create that opportunity to give it to you. Somebody had to print the currency that you now are begging them to give you so you can put that in your pocket. Somebody printed that dollar bill. Somebody printed that golden ticket. Somebody created that opportunity. So why not teach yourself and your children, especially your kids? Your kids are really important. Why not teach them how to create opportunities as opposed to just chasing them? That is a huge advantage that you have. And that ultimately, to some extent, makes you an economic and a political god. It makes you it puts you in a god-like status, because right now, the white man, for a lot of us, the white man is our economic god. And why do I say that? Well, because a god has the ability to reshape reality. A god has the ability to bless you. The God has the ability to elevate you or to destroy you, depending on how he feels that day. So when we're in church and we're begging Jesus, white Jesus, to give us that job or give us that opportunity or help us out financially, there's some white man somewhere who can make all our dreams come true, or they could ruin us, depending on what they feel like doing that day. So I say to you, let go of that God and focus on the God that's inside of you. That, understand that there's nothing that he can do that you can't do. There's no place he can go or be that you can't go or be. Everything that he created and built, you can build the same thing, but you got to be patient. You got to know the importance of having a 30, 40-year plan for your family. I told you guys about the 30-year plan I have for my niece. My niece was just born 8 days ago, and we put together a 30-year plan, and I did the math, and I said, according to my calculations, she'll be a millionaire by the age of 30. And that's written in stone. So think about the power that you have. Use that power instead of figuring out how to borrow power from other people. And that goes back to Katt Williams' point about ownership. I want you to own your power, because when you own your power, you get to decide what you want to do. You get to decide what's up, what's down, what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's not, what represents talent and what doesn't, as opposed to hoping that somebody else identifies you as the chosen Negro who gets the golden ticket. I say, fuck that. I say, build your own. I say, stop being scared and change your line of thought. We have to do that. All right. So anyway, no more slave thinking up in this space. Thank you guys for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe. The URL for the YouTube channel where I go live is drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. Write that down. Share that with other people. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications button. Also, if you want to get text notifications of when I go live, you can actually text my name, text Boyce to 31996. Text the word Boyce to 31996. Somebody please type this. Somebody type this stuff in so that other people can see it. So I don't have to say it 50 times. The last thing, don't forget, All Black National Convention happens at the end of this month, the weekend of September 27th in Philadelphia. Learn more, visit allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. There is a link to the live stream as well if you can't make the convention, but you really should come to the convention because it will change your life. allblacknationalconvention.com. And last but not least, if you're looking for books for your family or for your children, financial flashcards, anything like that, we have a great store with all kinds of stuff online that's really built to elevate your family and to build your family to its own empire, its own institution. That's what we want to do for the next generation. So we got lots of tools for you. If you want to check any of them out, drop in at drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. All right, so I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day, and I love you. And LaQuisha and E. Harris and Bosman and Bossman, Fence and Supreme Shabazz and Apple Cider and Doc Chi and Black Women Grow. I love all of y'all, and it was real. And I'm just real excited that I get all y'all up in here at this time in the morning. Some of y'all may be watching the recording, but either way, it is what it is. So I'll see you guys soon, and I love you. And when I see anything interesting, I'll go live again, and we'll have another great family conversation. So have a good day. Bust your ass. I'll see you soon.